Alright, I'm armed with facts. Now let's get to it. So, this is a blade that, when it is closed, it is 5 inches long, 12.5 centimeters long. This is a overall length of 8.5 inches, 21.6 centimeters. The blade length is 3.5 inches, 8.9 centimeters. This is made of AUS 8 stainless steel. Now they've just started making this in D2, which is very, very cool. For a folding knife, that should hold its edge a lot longer than this one. It's a fully flat ground blade made of nylon 6 in the handle, and it is a liner lock mechanism knife. It's come with a 4-way pocket clip tip, up, tip down, left or right handle, and it is thumb stud deploying on bronze phosphor washers. This comes in all different sorts of colours, flavours, varieties, serrated blades, black blades, coloured handles, all sorts of things. This is the most basic one because I wanted a pretty basic knife, and I'll get into that at the end, I guess, when I do my final thoughts. So what do I like about this knife? Well, I like this about this knife. That is about the nicest deploying thumb stud knife I've had in my hand since the Benchmade 940. It might even be a bit smoother than the Benchmade 940. The only problem is, releasing the lock and knocking it back in isn't as cool to do. But my goodness, I mean, since the Rat 2, which I had, which is very much similar, they've really got it dialed in how to make a nice, smooth deploying knife. The D10 is nice and strong, coupled with phosphor bronze washers, just makes it ultra smooth. Really, really nice knife to flick open and to play with. I like that the pocket clip goes 4 ways. You can have a bit of versatility there, and the blade is nice and wide and flat, so it's a really good slicing blade. It's a little bit on the thick side. The blade thickness is 0.115 inches, so almost 3 millimeters. So that's getting towards more a fixed blade thickness. So and you compare that to, say, my Spyderco Mantra. It is a fair bit thicker. Okay, fairly thick anyway. Maybe not as much as I thought. I like the handle of this knife. The Rat 2 handle never worked for me because it didn't fit my hand like this one does, because I have bigger hands and this is a bigger knife. The Rat 2 is just this knife shrunk down, so if your hand's like mine but shrunk down, you might think that was a really comfortable knife, but I didn't. When I squeezed the Rat 2, I had this hump wasn't sitting around my finger, it was sitting in the middle of my finger, and this parrot's beak here was about here on my finger. It just wasn't that great. This one fits me perfectly, and it's got some nice jimping on the back there, so the jimping bites back into your finger, which is really, really nice, and it's got some rudimentary jimping on the lock there as well. It's got really good lockup, and it's very well produced for such a cheap knife, which is another thing I really like about the knife. In Australia, you can now get these for between $50 and $60, which, as knife guys in Australia would know, that is a far cry from what we used to be paying for these things. For those few Aussie importers who would manage to get these in before they changed the laws that allowed knives in that could do that, you could pay, and I never did because I thought it was ridiculous, but you could pay $150 for a Rat 1 in Australia. So outrageous. That's just the way the economy works. But now it is free. Now the market is free. $60. I like that a lot about it as well. Everything about this knife, in basic terms, is really, really good. But let's get on to the things that might be a bit more controversial about the blade. First of all, it's freaking huge. It is a really big knife. It is not a pocket knife. It's not a everyday carry knife, in my opinion, at all. It's about as much as an everyday carry knife as the Zero Tolerance is, and it's a bit bigger than the Zero Tolerance 0909, a bit longer anyway. Not as heavy. Weight, I didn't get onto weight, I'm sorry. Yeah, horrible of me. Weight. Goodness me, Ontario. They don't put their weight on their stats. That won't do it all. I'll have to look that up because we need to know how much things weigh, because otherwise, Knife Centre, they never fail with stats. Let's have a look. 5 ounces. So, this is about 6.9 ounces. This is 5 ounces. So it's a lighter knife, but it takes up about as much space. It's also rather thick. I mean, this Zero Tolerance is a little bit thicker, but really, not too much. Not too much thicker at all. What a big knife it is, and I really wasn't quite prepared for that. I was knowing that it was going to be more comfortable, but yeah, it's a really big knife. So if you're buying this for an EDC, I think you probably should get something else, or if you've got medium-sized hands, try the Rat 2. But if you've got large-sized hands, don't get this as an everyday carry knife, because I think it's just a bit too big. For me anyway, my personal preference, if the carry was deep perhaps, then it might be, but it's not. It's just a lot of knife in your pocket, and it's kind of a big bone shape. It reminds me a lot of the paramilitary too. In fact, this is a really good knife to get if you can't afford a paramilitary 2, or don't really want to splurge for one because you'd rather spend your money on something else. Because it does about the same thing. It's got the bigger, chunkier handle for ultimate ergos and comfort, a nice 3.5-inch flat blade, and yeah, just a larger knife though. So I always found the paramilitary 2 just verging on the borders of being unacceptable to carry, and that was a thinner knife than this as well. That's rather thick. It really is. It's a piece in your hands. It really is. So that is one like slight knock to it. Well, it's not even a knock. It's just something you should know. That's all. Before getting one of these. The only other thing that I would probably knock about it is the fit and finish level isn't super flash, but it's a $60 knife, so it doesn't really matter. You can pick at the nylon, is what I'm saying, and that's that's really it. In terms of blade centering, it's there. That's all you need. Surely, it might be like 53% to 47%, something like that, but that's fine. Everything else about it is good. But if I had to knock it for two things, it would be the size, the weight, perhaps, just the overall chunkiness with what you expect and what you sort of need from a knife, and also just that couple of little fit and finish things. Nothing major at all. Really, really good knife. Much happier with this than I was with the Rat 2. So what am I going to use it for? I'm going to use this for my bushcraft setup. Let's show you what that is. There it is. Well, and by bushcraft I just mean going for long walks and maybe building some shit in the woods with old bits of dead tree and stuff, because this is a really, really good small task knife around camp. It's got a flat grind, so I'm just going to slice food really well. The Mora Garberg, I'm not super hot on it, but I'm going to use it and I'm going to test it. I'm going to form a stronger opinion of it, or a better opinion of it, before I give it a full review. I don't know how many more videos I'll squeeze out of this knife before the full review comes, but I'm going to use it, and it is undoubtedly a good wood carving knife. It's got the scanty grind. It's got a it's relatively good in the hand, and it's there's others. I said there's other knives that are better, but I'm going to take this and use it. And then I've got my Falkniven A1, which is just my big old chopping survival type knife. Really, really good. In fact, this will probably just live in my Frost River pack, and I just won't carry another folder when I go out. Because, as I said, I lost my paramilitary 2 when I went kayaking, and this is a knife I wouldn't be too devastated about losing because it's only $60. So that is the best purpose, I think, for an Ontario Rat 1. Outdoor folder. Not outdoor folder like, get a Triad-Lock outdoor folder and use it instead of your fixed blade. I mean, an outdoor folder in the sense of, something that you take that you don't really mind losing or getting a bit dinged up. Just the thing that you try, you could probably gut a fish with that, you could do a lot of things with that actually, and it's thick enough to do some sort of wood crafting and woodworking too. So that's the way that I'm going to use this Ontario Rat 1. I'm definitely not selling it. I sold my Rat 2, definitely not selling it, and yeah, we'll have to see how it goes in that role. So that is my review, folks, of the Ontario Rat 1. A really good knife for $60, as long as you don't expect it to vanish in your pocket. But if you're looking for something to take outdoors and use as a folding sort of taskmaster, I reckon the Ontario Rat 1 really can't go too much better, because it's so cheap. If it goes all wrong, you won't be too bothered. Thanks for watching, y'all. I'll see you later.